Hi friends, I'm Tammy Kay. Welcome to my channel. Today I have these beautiful florals in front of you, and these are gladiolus in a vase. I bought them for myself because sometimes I just need a treat. And what do I buy for myself when I need a treat? I usually get flowers. So today we're going to be painting the gladiolus together, and we're going to be using one brush. We're going to be using this flat wash brush. And while we are painting, we're also going to be talking a little bit about what it means to be present in our lives. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited about this painting today. I'm going to attempt to paint this using this 3/4 inch brush from Princeton Heritage. And I will cheat a little. We're using one brush essentially, but we might use a smaller brush, maybe the number 8 or number 2. We'll see for some details, but trying to keep it with this one just to see how far we can go. I also have a gel pen. This is a white gel pen just for some of the centers of the flowers. Now, with my perspective, I'm not seeing the centers, but your perspective is a little bit over the flowers, so you can see in the center. So anyway, we'll see how we decide to do all that. So I've got my brush dipping it in water, but let me go ahead and spray down my palette. And all of the supplies used in this video are listed in the description of the video as well, if in case you wanted to check them out. And if you have any questions, also let me know below. So I'm mixing up some purple here, and we've got 2 shades of purple, a nice bluish purple, it's gorgeous, and then this more reddish purple here. And I've got 2 waters because I'm trying to be good about cleaning my brush in one and then getting fresh water in another. We'll see how that goes because I'm just not great at that. Anyway, it's all good. So we're gonna dip into here. We're gonna just start adding in our blooms, and there's so many things happening here. I want to leave enough at the top that you can't see outside the camera, that nice little part of the buds at the top there. Then we're just gonna start adding this in a little off-centered. I'm gonna try to do that, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. So we've got some lovely petal shapes here, and I'm just using my flowers in a way to be able to just have an idea of what these look like, but I'm not necessarily, making it exactly what I see here. So we're just going to take some of the other purple. There's another little petal here. And when we use a reference photo, and I've just squeeged off my brush, but I think I'm going to dip into more paint. We'll see. You never know what you're going to do. So, when you're making these blooms, just keep in mind looseness. Keep in mind just kind of going with the flow with this. We're leaving some white space here for the greenery that we're going to put in later. And I'm using a square brush today because I wanted to challenge myself to try to paint these with that square brush. I most always grab the same brush, my round brushes. They're just so honestly, simply very comfortable. And they do a really good job with flowers, but maybe we want to do something different today. And if you want to try something different, you can try picking up your square brush as well and just seeing how laying down the color feels differently. Seeing how maybe it makes you a little nervous. And if you do feel nervous, just being aware of taking deep breaths, relaxing, reminding yourself this is just practice. I'm dabbing my brush on the paper towel and lifting some paint just to get a little variation in some of these flowers. So we're putting down those first basic washes. We're not worried too much about detail at all. And I'm going pretty dark with this too. So these gladiolus. Okay, so I was going to say, hey, I have a story about these flowers, a few little stories, but when I was a kid, I remember thinking they were called gladiolas, and then I did say gladiolus. And they're gladiolus. If you're not familiar with the flower, maybe you are. And I just thought it was kind of interesting that, we'll hear something as a kid and we just go with it. And we assume that that's exactly, how you're supposed to call it. And that's not necessarily accurate. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of a weird little thing. So today, as we're adding in our flowers, we're gonna do some greenery too. This is really loose, and I feel like because I have this square brush, it is keeping my painting so loose. And we've got a little petal coming off of there, kind of coming down here. It's keeping everything really loose and kind of angular in a way, which I'm kind of jiving with. So I'm putting some petals right here. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing here and painting what I see. Some petals over here too. Just kind of painting what I see today. Is that always what we do? I don't know. I think that's the goal, but maybe that's not always what we do. So I've got one up here. And so I wanted to talk to you guys also just about the idea of being in the moment, being in the present. And, you know, how often do we experience that in our lives? We're so busy. We're so consumed. As I'm continuing to make these trumpet shapes, I just want you guys to think about it for a moment or two. We're so busy, we're so involved in our lives and in the lives of others that we don't often have a chance to be in the moment where we've got our screens in front of us. You know, we are plugged in, we're gonna just do a little wet on wet effect here, just adding some paint back in while it's still wet. We're so involved in the lives of our children and our family and in the lives of the people that we work with. And we often don't have some space where we just sit and think, you know, and we just think about what's going on, thinking about what we'd like to accomplish in our life or see differently in our life. And I think it's so important to take that time. And how can you be more present? How can you be more mindful? Doing that last flower right here, kind of, you know, just the idea of it. One way is to be able to just tune into your senses. What are the things you can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear around you? And what I mean by that is try going for a walk and start to hone in to the senses and the things that you can see, smell, taste, touch, and feel. See, smell, taste, touch, and hear. And maybe it might take a little bit of time for you to hone in on that. But after a while, you're going to understand what I mean, because you can start to say, okay, well, I can see, you know, the sunbeams, I can see the animals running around. And I'm going to pause on that as we are adding our green here. With the same flat wash brush, guys, we're doing good. We're doing good. So we're going to kind of do I'm just going to do a simple stem coming through here, just sketching. See how I'm sketching really loosely, lightly, coming back, leaving white space, coming back, and we're going to put some buds in there, but I'm going to do a little bit of the greenery that goes around the buds, and then maybe a few like little bud things here. Very loose, see, very loose. All right, kind of going off the page there. And all these need to be connected in some way, and we will connect them with their little greenery encasing. And I'm going to put a little bit of purple in there too. So just being aware of what you can see, what you can smell, and sometimes you can kind of smell, if you're at the beach, for example. I'm just going to put a little bit of flower in here, just you know, abstractly, you know, we're not really doing a lot of details because it's behind stuff. I just needed some more happening in there. And so if you're at the beach, you can hear the waves, you can taste the salt in the air, you can feel the sand in between your toes, right? You are able to experience all of these things at the same time. And when you are experiencing being in the moment, you are not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about your worries and your stressors and your needs. You're just thinking about what is, what's around you, what you can experience with your body, with your ears, with all of your senses. So when we do that, it gives us a little break from the yuck and the muck, and it also helps to train our brain to be present when we're with the most precious people in our lives, okay? If we are always on our screens and we're thinking about what's the next thing that we're gonna do, what's the thing on the list that we have to accomplish, what we didn't accomplish last night, what we did do and wished we hadn't, if we're always thinking about that, we're missing out on the present moment right here. I'm dipping into my green, and we're just adding some of that green back in. Guys, I hope you are enjoying this video. I'm gonna add a little bit more green here. It's not what's in here, but I don't care. I'm just gonna, you know, add in some fun strokes. I'm really, really loving using this flat wash brush, guys. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like. Let me know in comments what you are enjoying about this. We're still gonna add in our greenery, so we are not quite done. We've got our other layers to do as well. We're gonna do one larger greenery here and then two shorters. Or maybe we'll do one large here and two shorters here. This is where, this is a little bit, it's pretty centered more than I wanted, but I feel like it's a little bit to the right. So anyway, you can change your composition, make it what you want it to be. And so if we are always thinking about the next thing, or we're thinking of, and that's usually either thinking about the good stuff or worrying about the bad stuff, or if we're always thinking, okay, well, that next party is going to be the fun thing, or that next time I hang out with my friend, that's going to really make my life good, or, you know, never enjoying what you have now, you're going to go through life and never enjoy a thing. All right, leaving you on that note, we're going to add in our foliage, just something to think about. I have not been doing great with my water, just dipping into this one because I just don't, I'm not into the habit, but anyway, it's okay. I'm loving the color of this green. I like what's happening. I don't want to mess it up. So my brain is telling me, be very careful. I'm just going to go for it. We're going to take the side of this brush and we are just going to start adding in our greenery here, okay? And we might even kind of flip it a little bit because I do want a thick piece. Guys, if you are enjoying this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel so that you are notified when I post videos and regular posts as well. In the future, hit that notification bell too so that you get that. You know when I'm doing my thing. I'm gonna put it all the way down because why not? All right, so let's see. We're gonna add another one here. And I'm not going straight like this, and I'm not going flat like that. I'm kind of going to the side, or the side here, because I want a somewhat thick one. We're just starting to paint through, and this might feel scary because you're painting through the florals as well, but don't worry about it. So guys, the reason I have the gladiolus, of course I'm gonna say it incorrectly now that I'm thinking about it, and that's okay, right? We're gonna be okay. The reason why I got these is because I went to the store to grab some groceries. I went and I did pick up. Let's do some wet on wet here. And I then needed, of course, more things from, you know, I didn't order everything I needed. And so I had to actually go in the store after picking up groceries. So that's okay. It was fun. And they have all these gorgeous, gorgeous flowers just sitting around and waiting to be bought. And there was a bouquet of 5 gladiolus for $5. And you know, they were starting to get maybe a little bit not as fresh, and that's probably why they were so inexpensive. But I took them, and I'm just gonna do a little bit more right here. A little dry brushing. Just wanted to add a little bit more to that. Sometimes you just need to do a few little things. I don't know. And anyway, so it did not disappoint. I'm very excited that I picked them up because they inspired me to want to paint this with you guys today. So I am still trying to keep with the theme of the flat wash brush, guys. So I am going to resist the temptation to use a smaller brush, and we're just going to try to continue with this challenge. It is definitely turning out to be a challenge, but it's a fun one. So we're going to grab some of the saturated paint, and this is where we're starting to put in kind of our shadows and just adding in some really dark marks. And this is where we're going to get some really interesting results because I'm going so dark. I'm going so dark, guys. And so I'm going to put in some of these beautiful marks. I'm loving this. Some of these are going to be thin and some are thick. I do want to retain the original color. Of course, we have to add in some of those buds as well. I haven't forgotten that. And some are thick and some are thin. This is such an abstract piece. Look at how pretty these marks are creating a beautiful, interesting composition. So you never know how things are going to go with a painting. I haven't practiced this first. And, you know, sometimes I do samples before I do a long tutorial, just because it gets me inspired. If something turns out well, I want to share it with people. And today we're just going for it. So anyway, let me know how you feel like it's going, how you would want to paint this yourself. If you're painting this with me today, what's your impression? How are you feeling about your results? So just adding in a little bit of those pink buds. So cute. I love these flowers so much. And what do you guys think about me painting flowers that I have in my house? I was thinking of starting a garden, but it's so hot here in the desert that I just haven't figured out the time. But there is a time of year coming up soon. Spring and fall is when you can kind of do the gardening thing. So I would love to paint from actual real experience, real flowers in front of me. Anyway, so, all right. And then this one, we're just going to do a really thick one here. Just leaving that like that. So yeah, these are pretty loose interpretation. I'm pressing down with the belly of the brush for more stark marks, and then just letting things be. If you want less marks on your page, light, thin brush strokes, a little bit of pressure. I'm going to do splatter on this, but I want to do, let me see here. I'm taking kind of I'm not literally stepping back, but I'm just taking a little bit of a perusal here to see what I need to do. And I think I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more of this color in some places. And then probably just let it be for now. So these are, yes, very abstract. These are definitely not realistic, but that is, you know, more my style. And this brush is really bringing that out today, I'm noticing. So we have a thick brush, which means we're gonna get probably really thick chunks of splatter, and that's okay. So you load your brush with some lovely paint, and then you tap it, and if nothing is coming off, you tap with both hands, and just adding splatter there and some splatter over here. I don't want to overdo it, but it does make the flowers look more magical in my opinion. I'm going to wash out my brush, and I'm going to add a little bit more green, and I think then we're done. That's it. Yeah. So as we are finishing this up and I'm getting more saturated paint here on my palette, maybe a little bit of some teal, a little bit of a bluish green happening, a little bit of red to tone it down because it's kind of intense, but that's okay. A little bit more blue till you find the best shade that you want. So I encourage you guys though to think about what I was saying about being in the moment. We're just going to do some little sketchy lines here of really paying attention to what you see and hear and smell and taste and touch, so that you can start to practice, because as you practice that, it's going to get a lot easier to attend, to be fully present to your loved ones, to your boss, to whomever you're talking to, and really give them the time of day that they deserve. And then you're not missing out on the beauty of life, because when we are present, not only does it improve the lives of others, but it of course improves our lives as well, and makes us find a more rich happiness that we won't experience when we're not thinking about what people are saying, or you know, looking at their smile and seeing the delight, the pleasure in a child's face when they're playing with a new toy, or they're seeing you play with them. Those are beautiful moments that we want to tend to and not miss out on, you guys. So anyway, thank you for being here. I want to always remind you that I do teach watercolor on Patreon if you are interested in taking your watercolor journey to another level and getting instructional videos, depending on the tier that you choose, sometimes almost on a weekly basis. And you can try it for 7 days free, a little bit of green splatter on top, because why not? And we're doing live stream. There's live stream access, as well as art prints and so much more. Well, I hope you enjoyed painting the gladiolas with me today. Thank you so much for being here, for watching, and I also hope that you can practice how to be present in this next week to help you to enjoy life a little bit more.